You're not going to want to miss this episode of the AI Show. We talk all about building your own Copilot with Azure AI Studio, part two of a two-parter with my friend Shanae. Make sure you tune in. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the AI Show, where we're talking all about building your own Copilot with Azure AI Studio, part two. This is part two of a two-part series with my friend Shanae. Shanae, how you doing?
Really good, Seth. How are you?
Fantastic. And for those that missed the first episode of this two-parter, why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
So my name is Shanae Winner, and I'm a senior product manager on the Azure AI team. And I currently work on our UI experiences in the AI studio.
Fantastic. And for those that don't know what the AI Studio is, can you give us just a little elevator pitch on what it is and why people should use it?
Yeah, so the Azure AI Studio is a really great place for you to do your generative AI applications and co-pilots because it's a unified platform of our AI services. So I definitely think you want to go and check it out.
Fantastic. And we started building a little bit of an application last time for Tree Hollers. Can you remind us what we built? And then I have here a little bit of what it was actually showing on the screen.
Yeah, so last time in part one, we actually found the best model for our Q&A scenario because we're building a Q&A chat box for our Treeholics website to help users find the right products and services that Treeholics provides. So we came to the Azure AI Studio, we found the best model and leveraged benchmarks to do so. Then we deployed that model, came to the playground and experimented with that model and made sure we grounded our model in our company data to give us the right answers with the right context for our
In
company.
multiple languages, too.
In multiple languages, as you could see, Seth, we asked something in English, we also changed the language, and we got a really good response. So you might want to check out that episode.
Yeah, and then the other thing was the manual evaluations where you're able to upload question and answer pairs and figure out is it doing the right thing. That was really cool too.
Yeah, exactly. So you also want to do that when you want to evaluate how well your model is performing, because really slight changes could drastically impact the performance of your model and your assistant.
So in this episode, we're going to dive a little deeper. What if you want to do a little bit more customization and you want to change things up a little? What can we do?
Yeah, so this is where we're going to talk a little bit about prompt flow. And I'm here in the playground right now, but I want to go into our prompt flow experience.
So this
And
just a pause here. Just so this previous thing that we built before, we're effectively opening this same experience but in prompt flow to do further modifications. Is that right?
exactly, Seth. So essentially, prompt flow is like the graphical representation of the playground. So what you're going to see here is very similar to what we did. You can ask a question and you will get a similar response based on your company's like data. And prompt flow is just a great way to like streamline your LLM application like lifecycle. And even do more. So if you want to add multiple data sources, if you want to add multiple prompts to test, that is a great place for you to do that.
All right, let's take a look at what it did.
So what you're looking at here is that graphical representation that we just discussed in
Nice.
the playground. So inputs, which would be like the question that was asked. Each node here represents a piece of code. So if I select one of these, there's code that you can actually check in as a developer and use. And here is like the output that the model or the assistant will actually give. So in the chat here, you'd see that I just asked a few questions and it was still grounded in my company data, just like we saw in the playground.
Right.
And then other things that you might want to take a look at in the prompt flow UI is, access to all your files that you could download and leverage in your favorite ID. So if you want to use VS Code Web, this is an easy way for you to just click here and you get like a hosted workstation to do this exact same thing in VS Code Web. And
Oh,
changes
interesting.
that you make here actually will show up in the UI.
Oh, really? So those things are actually tied together then.
Yep. So you can either work in this experience or you can work in the UI experience in Azure AI Studio. And that's the beauty of like working where you prefer and where you feel comfortable.
And here's the other thing that as you're scrolling through, one of the things that I realized pretty quickly is that this prompt flow is actually a set of files. It's not like some mystical thing. And so you can literally download these files and run them locally, or you can run them inside of VS Code for web or inside of your own VS Code. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. So here you can see all of the files that are being used in this prompt flow. And I can easily just like download these files and, as you said, use it locally. So you can definitely do that.
Fantastic. All right. So can you explain what this prompt flow does a little bit more and maybe give us a little tour of what's going on?
Yeah, so basically, sort of did an overview of the prompt flow, but the reason why you want to come here is if you want to scale or maybe do more. So you can add multiple data sources, for example. You can add multiple meta prompts. So here you can see this is the default prompt that I have, but you could essentially add more of these to determine how well your model performs. And the good thing about, or I should say, the interesting thing about LLMs is that, they are non-deterministic in nature. So if you give it the same question, it might get a different like response. So it's important to leverage prompt flow to try different meta prompts, try different data sources, try different things, and evaluate how that model performs. And I could show you how we can do that.
Oh, I see. So what you're saying is that the same thing we did manually before, we're going to do again here, but with a more complex structure with potentially multiple data sources.
Yes. So, for example, like up here, you could see we have an evaluation option. And when I click this built-in evaluation, I can kick off an evaluation job here flow. And you see that there's quite a few metrics that I can select to determine how well my model performs. So groundedness to tell me how well, this model responded with respect to my input. I can look at coherence to see if the model reads like a human. So I can kick off this evaluation and see how well it basically performed by, mapping the data to the inputs here. And I've actually already kicked off one of these
So
evaluation flows to
before you
create.
before you go to the next one, is this data coming? Is this something that you give it, or where is this data coming from?
So for this evaluation, I actually uploaded this one.
Oh, wait,
So
this is
yeah,
the same one from the manual evaluation, isn't it?
yes, yes,
See, man,
precisely.
I'm learning stuff. Amazing.
You're good, Seth. You're good. You're
Thank
making
you.
all the connections.
Yeah, I love it. That's
So
cool.
you can use that existing data set that you already use, but now like you can change the meta prompt, or you can change data sources or anything really to see how it performed. And I want to just like quickly show you what that evaluation looked like that I did previously.
Let's do it.
So here you can see I have a ton of different evaluations. Let me close this. But I want to take a look at these two specifically.
Okay.
And here you can see these. I looked at just a few metrics and I actually changed the prompt. So I had one evaluation with the default prompt, and I had one with another prompt that I use. And I wanted to see the impact on specific metrics like relevance and groundedness to see how it would impact the performance of this model. And this is where you can get like a side by side comparison of like two changes that you did to your flows and the impact of those changes using the metric built-in evaluation.
Oh, that's cool because I think one of the things is changing the text in these prompts really affects what the output is. And what you're doing here is you're, as a developer that's doing generative AI, you're able to run these things a couple of times and see how is the stuff that you're changing affecting things like, I think you have groundedness and relevance in this case. And it looks like you made it worse.
I actually did make it worse, Seth. So that tells me I need to improve my prompt. So what I did is I first ran it with the default prompt that we have in prompt flow. And then I actually changed my prompt a bit. I gave it some specific ways to behave, and I need to tune that. And I wanted to essentially show you that, it is an iterative process. Sometimes
Yeah.
you run it and it is worse. So you have to
she's
update
all, she's all like, "You called me out, Seth. Don't worry, Shanae. I have made things worse
it.
a lot." So this is
No,
probably the
that was
one
part of my plan. It was
that was
part.
part of the plan. So once people have gone through evaluations and are satisfied that this prompt flow that they built is good, what are the next steps? What should people be thinking about, or what are you going to show us next?
So essentially, after you have a evaluation that you're satisfied with, that you like how it's performing, you can then, go to your prompt flow. I think it was this one I was using, and you can then deploy this. So after you've tweaked it a bit, you can deploy this and then leverage it in your application. So you basically go through the deployment steps, and once you do that, then you have your prompt flow deployed that you can then just call in your various applications.
And that's just making another endpoint. And I know this because I've done this before. It's making another endpoint that folks can call.
Exactly. Is
And
that
that's really cool because it's like you're making your own new GPT-3.5 Turbo, but wrapped in your own data goodness to make it more of what you want for treeholics in this case, right?
exactly? So eventually you should see my deployment pop up here that I just deployed. But essentially, yes, using my company data, changing like the meta prompts the way I did, and basically customizing my flow, I can then deploy that endpoint and then use it in my application.
Well, this is amazing stuff. Anything else to add? Like, where can people learn more, or that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I would suggest to come to the Azure AI Studio at ai.azure.com and explore all of the capabilities that we have. I'll also encourage you to check out our documentation and our tutorials and get started. And it's so simple to build your first Copilot. So I encourage you to do the same.
Fantastic. Well, Shanae, this has been lovely. We've been learning all about how to build your own Copilot with Azure AI Studio. This is part 2 of 2. Thanks so much for being with us, Shanae.
Yeah, happy to be here, Seth. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care.